Hello and welcome back to the Metal Breakdown Podcast. In today's episode, me and Tom shall be reviewing Periphery 5, Djent is Not a Genre. We've just listened to the album for the first time, and we'll be going through each song one by one before finishing on our overall review of the album. To start, we'll be going over the song Wildfire.
So, I give this one a 9, and this is pretty much heavy Periphery. So Spencer sounds great on this record. It's sort of very much a sort of step adjacent to P4, I find. So some of the sing-along parts are going to be great. I think the pit is probably going to kill a couple people, self included. But honestly, really cool song. Love the funky sax section at the end.
We love sax in any song.
But the best part, in my opinion, was the drums. I thought the drums were absolutely incredible on that track. Yeah.
I gave it a 10 out of 10.
Whew.
A fucking strong start from the album. Very chaotic. It sounds very Blood Eagle to me.
Yeah, this is one of the heavier songs.
You get that sort of like chaotic drumming and guitaring, very similar.
Yeah.
To Blood Eagle. Then you've got the more proggy chorus, which it feels weird to have the chorus be more proggy than the verse. But it's so catchy
it's
as
really
well.
Cool.
We were just saying before we started recording that we've both got the chorus stuck in our fucking heads. And then the very odd yet captivating jazz section. We've got beautiful ringing piano in the classical jazz style.
Yeah, the keys in the background, and sort of like a bassy section playing. Mm-hmm. So really, really cool stuff.
Yeah, so certainly a fucking strong start to the album. Then we move on to
Atropos?
Atropos. We'll go with that. We'll go with your pronunciation because...
What were you going to say?
I don't know. I can't really process it in my head.
Anyway, that was the third single, I believe, released. I didn't listen to it too much.
I didn't listen to it too much either.
Before the full album. But, I rated this one a 7. I thought it was kind of forgettable in the grand scheme of the album. Not bad by any measure, but I definitely need more listen to this one because it just kind of faded into the background for me.
I also gave it a 7 and pretty much exact same thoughts on it. I was like, it's a lot of cleans. It's more vibey than Wildfire. We'll get through this a lot in this first section of the album. But musical whiplash, going from a heavy song to a light song to a heavy song to a light song. You feel like you're just jolting around. Yeah, it was not the most interesting or captivating of Periphery songs.
Yeah, I feel like some of the ideas on this song are good, but other songs in the album itself do these better. Not a bad song by any measure, but it is quite long at 8 minutes, so nothing too much to write home about.
Yeah, well, to be fair, most of these songs are fairly long, but most of the longer ones don't necessarily feel as long.
Yeah. Alright, on to the next one.
Next one, Wax Wings. Now, I gave this an 8 out of 10, and upon the start of the song, I thought it was very math rock, almost with Polypheus-style guitaring, and that modern guitar style that's becoming quite popular. Even more cleans. It was quite funky. I enjoyed the good funk. This album has quite a few funky parts that I had bopping along. I thought the solo was very fitting for the song, but also different in the sense it was very classic metal and classic rock of the 80s. And that style of solo, it almost reminded me of, you're going to hate this, November Rain. November Rain solo.
It is a good solo though.
But it was a fantastic solo.
I'll give them that.
Even though it's very different genres from the song and the band, it still fit very well. Overall, the song had a very rocky feeling.
I gave this one a 9. I love the guitars. I think the tone they go for is really good. I think Spencer sounds absolutely fantastic again. I'm going to be saying this a lot in this album. Spencer is easily one of the best vocalists out of metal right now.
This was a very Spencer-heavy album. He was front and center for a lot of these songs.
No, he absolutely killed it. I love the bluesy feel to some of the guitars and the keys at times. Just pretty cool song.
Next one, Everything is Fine! Exclamation mark. Everything is fine.
It's like the meme with a dog with the room on the fire. Yeah, that's how I felt jumping from from Wax Wings here into Everything Is Fine, because this is heavy Periphery.
Oh yeah.
This is Blood Eagle Periphery. Just heavy as balls, mathcore chugs and runs throughout. I thought, around the 4-minute mark, like that beatdown, almost halftime section was really cool. So perfect heavy banger. I give this one a 10. I absolutely loved it.
I gave this one an 8.5. It was very industrial sounding. It had a lot of like alien sounds and weird guitar stuff.
Yeah, the mathcore scrape.
No, you know what it reminded me of most? Darko.
Yeah.
With, like those weird alien sounds that they like to add in there with, I don't know what they could do to their guitars, but you get the really high whistling, screechy sounds, and you got some of that in this. And just general all-round chonk.
Alright, what number track are we on?
5? Number 5, Silhouette.
Silhouette. Now this was another whiplash.
Yeah, going from absolute chonk to chill vibes, lo-fi. I'll give you a rating.
So I gave this one a 7. Remember, this is like a first time listen, and my reason for that was it was like sort of a synth poppy sort of vibe. It was quite a weird juxtaposition, which kind of threw me off more than anything. But I think it's definitely a grower, and very much a potential song that will be a staple sing-along after a few listens.
Now we can see where my personal likes come into here, because we know I like chill interlude songs, and I give this one a 9 out of 10. Musical whiplash, but I don't want to hold that against the song. I will hold it against the album, but I'm not going to hold it against the song. I enjoyed the lo-fi and the piano. It was beautiful and scenic.
Yeah.
I felt like Spencer was creating a scene with his vocals. And at one point, I turned around to you and said, this is just video game music. At one point, it just felt like video game music. But I very much enjoyed it.
Yeah. Well, next track, Dying Star. I feel like it follows a similar path to Silhouette. It's not quite a crazy jump like Everything Is Fine. Solid track. Again, probably another grower song for me. That again will be a sing-along. I give it an 8.
I too gave it an 8. And I totally agree with you. I do think it'll be a grower. During the song, I compared it to like Deftones and Loathe.
Yeah. Having
the like shoegaze and the dissonance, but also like the heavies and the chunk with the zeros, that typical sort of almost metalcore sound to it. It was very fun. Enjoyed the guitars on the bridge, but I also put it was quite forgettable. As soon as we moved into Zagreus, I didn't really remember too much about this song. So yeah, I'm probably going to have to give this one a couple more listens.
Well, next song, Zagreus. I give this one a 10. This was my favourite of the singles, and it's pretty much, in my opinion, a quintessential Periphery song. Like, if I was going to put on a song that defined Periphery, Zagreus would be up there. I think it's probably got some of the most memorable sort of lyrical parts. The Will We Ever Be, We're Falling Apart section.
Yeah. That's a good section.
It's such a good sing-along section again. Connor was just like singing along to it in the background when we were playing it.
I can't not.
So,
Is just
I say it's emotional, it's heavy, the solo is great, the instrumentation is absolutely beautiful, and the end of the song is like a really nice sort of crescendo build-up into the next song, and I just really enjoy the song overall. 10 out of 10.
I give it a 9.5. It's proggy, chunky, djenty. I enjoy that 2-step guitar at the start.
Yeah.
That's the only way I can describe it. I don't have the musical knowledge like Tom does. Chorus. I could say this with like a lot of these songs, and I will say this again, but the chorus is the highlight.
It's really hard to write a great metal chorus, and I think we do need to praise Periphery here for like being able to write not just a metal chorus, but like an extremely technical, progressive metal chorus, and it still be catchy. It's what makes Wildfire and Zagreus particularly like so standout when them singles came out, because like it's so difficult to get a catchy, progressive chorus and to pull it off.
Yeah, it's just impressive musical work. I've also put down here that this song is at its strongest when it's at its minimum instrumentally. Like when you've just got like just a few instruments playing and you've not got that wall of sound that Periphery kind of known for at this point. it really stands out strong. And then you've got that big crushing ending before the fade out,
Yeah.
as we were talking about with the Will It Ever Be. And you have the few little piano keys, and then drops straight back into it. Hits nice and heavy.
So the main song potentially off the album, Dracul Gras.
Fat Dracula, as we know it from the leaks.
Djent is not a genre.
Djent is definitely a genre.
The song defines the title.
Djent is definitely a genre.
I thought it was a really interesting song. It's very P4 towards like the start, and as we go through the song, we get to like the 7-minute mark. It gets pretty groovy. You know, I just started like bopping along to it, and then the thing that I didn't expect was a breakdown, and I could just like visualize the pit. It's like the song. I've been in a Periphery pit before. I know how brutal it's gonna be. I
looked up when the breakdown happened and looked at Tom's face and the dread, the fear that this man was feeling. He was picturing people dying.
Yeah, I mean, I said I've been in the pits. Absolutely amazing time. Loved every second of it, but I did walk out with a bleeding head. But yeah, back to the song. I think Spencer's range again is phenomenal on here, and the last 2 minutes are pretty interesting. It goes 4 seconds ago vibes, which is the side project of Misha Mansour and I think Jake. So
I don't know that one. I'm surprised you haven't told me about that one before, considering you're such a big Periphery fan.
No, they released an album in 2018 where they did like a sort of side chill EDM project, and the last 2 minutes of that song just are so strong with that sort of like vibe.
I'll have to check
really
those out.
cool stuff. Highly recommend listening to it if you haven't. But yeah, your thoughts on Dracul?
My ranking, I gave this one a 10. I couldn't not. It's straight into the action with just pure Djent. That is like straight up, very typical, but hard hitting Djent. I enjoyed the pop section with Spencer. It had a pop beat, and Spencer had very typically poppy vocals. It was different, but it fit well in the song, and it really elevated it and made it more fun for me. I described it as danceable, which is not something you would think of when you think of Periphery. You don't think Periphery and go, dancing music.
Get your dancing shoes on.
You can't dance to half of that shit. But it feels right to describe it as like danceable and funky. Almost feels like the album has built up to this song. It did much feel like the highlight of the album. Also, again, with the choruses being a fucking highlight. Choruses are just good. Brutal, genty, and perfectly timed breakdown with a chill ending.
Alright. So, yeah, pretty high ratings there again for that one. The second half of the album is really a standout, you know. So the final song, Thanks Nobuo, I think it's pronounced, Nobuo?
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 Nobu?
I gave this one a 10. I pretty much would say this is classic Periphery here. The sort of vibes from early Faith No More, sort of like 90s sort of esque at times, especially in the vocal sort of delivery. Periphery always a band to have like fantastic closers, and this one is certainly up with there. I thought it was beautiful. I thought it was mature. Really enjoyed the composition, and the sort of like last couple of minutes like fade out. I thought it fit the album pretty well.
This is the like one of the only points on this album where we actually disagree. I'm giving this one a 7.
Whoa.
Which is, I think, my lowest ranking of any of the songs. Yeah. It was a clean transition between the songs, and as you said, it felt very like classic Periphery with a 90s grunge feel to it. But it did feel like a different song structure to the rest of the songs on this album. It had some beautiful climaxes and crescendos in this song, but overall, I thought the outro was just too long and drawn out. Half of this song felt like an outro. I was just like, I like a fade out, but it just felt too long of a fade out.
No, I don't really have too much of a problem with that, because when you're dedicating like an hour of time to listen to an album like this in full, it's an hour and 10 minutes to the runtime. Like 3 minutes to like sort of cool off is I think pretty apt for me personally.
Are you sure it felt more like 5 minutes? It felt like 5 minutes of just kind of slow fade out.
Yeah, I'm perfectly fine with that. So, overall review then at the end. What are you going to give this album?
Am I going first?
Yeah.
Oh, I don't like that. I'll give it, I guess. Oh, it's quite hard because I've not really thought about this, and I've certainly not wrote down notes for it. But similar to what I said for Haken, a 9.5 or a 10. But I am going to rank this one below the Haken album. I think the Haken album overall was much better. If the Haken one felt better mixed. I'm not dissing the mixing on this. This was a very good mix still. But the musical whiplash kind of kills me quite a bit with it. It felt like sort of almost in the theme of the album, in like almost replicating Djent, in like the on and off, but it was quite jolting to listen to as an album in full. But overall, the songs were very good, very memorable, fun, and just good periphery. So yeah, it's certainly up there, and is probably going to be on my top 10 of the year.
Personally, I'm giving this one a solid 9. I was leaning maybe 8.5, but I think 9's probably more fair looking at some of my scores for these. I think it's, again, an absolutely fantastic prog album. The March has been pretty great for prog, so can't really complain there. I don't really mind the sort of whiplash at times, especially on more listens. I'll probably get used to it. I give it a 9 because I do think there's a lot of growers here, and I think over the next year or so, it has the potential to go up to a 10 for me. But it's hard to put an album straight at a 10 if I feel there's quite a lot of growers on there, because the full potential of listening to that sort of project isn't there yet. You need time with it to develop, and I think I need more time with this album to sort of really develop it into a 10 for me, personally. So 9 out of 10. Thought it was a fantastic album, great addition to the discography. I don't think they miss, really. I think it sits right up there with P4. Personally, probably won't put it above P3 just yet for me. But yeah, no, fantastic addition overall. Absolutely great.
No complaints, really. There are complaints, but it's still certainly a solid album, and as you said, fits in brilliantly with the rest of the stuff that they've done.
Right, top song off the album?
Oh, you can't do me like that. I can't pick either Dracul Gras or Wildfire.
Probably have to go Zagreus for now, but I can see Dracul Gras or Thanks Nobuo getting there, personally. And worst song?
Thanks, Nobu.
I'm going to have to go for Atropos because it was the most forgettable.
That's also a fair choice.
Anyway, thank you very much for listening. Feel free to comment whatever you thought of the album below if you made it this far.
And also, Djent is a genre.
No, it's not.